Why do you think mental health is on the rise in the U.S.?
I don't think mental health is basically on the rise in the U.S., but maybe that more people are going to get help for their mental illnesses, where it's getting reported then to the state or whatever, where they get their statistics from, it will say that mental health is on the rise, but in reality, it's just more people going to get help.
Why do college students not ask for help?
I think college students don't ask for help for mental illnesses because they're afraid of what their peers are going to say about them or their fellow students, and there's a lot of stigma that's attached to mental illnesses, and they're just afraid of what other people are going to think of them if they're walking around with a chronic illness hanging over their head.
What is your definition of mental health?
My definition of mental health would be an individual who is capable of adjusting or adapting to any challenges that might come up. So if somebody is experiencing mental illness, they may be unable to cope or function in the way that they want to.
What is your definition of mental illness?
Mental illness is something like a disease that impacts your ability to function on a daily basis and impairs your ability to do anything in your living, I guess.
As we see a growth in awareness, do you see a decline in the amount of stigma?
I think that the more aware we've become, the less stigma we're feeling. But it also seems like the more that we have become aware, the more hurtful people can be in their comments. And then we've also seen a change in the way that those hurtful comments are delivered to people. So yes, we've become more aware and we have these PSAs, but people can also be bullying each other online or through Twitter or texting. And so I think that we have to be mindful of how we behave across settings and not just in person.
Why are college students so hesitant to receive help and be diagnosed?
Stigma. Students are hesitant because they are worried about having a label hung on their head or around their neck, and they're not wanting to admit to or be labeled as being different. And so I think the more we can talk about stigma, the more we can talk about mental health, the more likely it'll be that it's just an everyday thing, and some people just need the support and encouragement, and it's up to the rest of us to give them that.
How can we stop and prevent the stigma in a college setting?
I think that the best way to stop it is to start talking about it. And an everyday kind of a thing might be to monitor our language. Another might be if somebody says to you that they're needing help or that they're seeing a counselor, it'd be really important to just give them support for being brave enough to share that or being strong enough to ask for help. And so I think the more we can talk about it and then offer support to one another, the better or the more likely it is that we'll overcome that stigma.
get help, and what actions are we taking to decrease the amount of stigma?
So there are several places on campus that students could turn to for help. One would be the Student Health and Counseling Center over in Cedar Hall. Another would be Disability Services in Bangsburg. And then students could also go to the Student Advising and Success Center in Sackgast. Some of the other things on campus are various panels, like the Mental Health Awareness Panel, to help increase students' understanding of what it might be like to experience mental illness, but also to realize that it isn't the end, that it might just be the beginning, and to be able to have encouragement through these wonderful stories that students have to share.
Go.
Well, I guess I was supposed to make this next sentence funny, so use your imagination and make it as funny as you can. Take a stand and shatter the stigma.